It sounds like a great name of a show. Make mine Canada. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we already got kore, sore, are, and we learned how to use those, right? Now we've learned kono, thing, sono, thing, and ano, thing. Right? And we learned the question words, dore, and dono. Okay? So we've learned those as well, right? So now we're going to add one more set by ending ko. Ko deals with location. So doko, where. Koko, here. Soko, there. And asoko. Because ako doesn't really sound right. So asoko, which is way over there, way over yonder. For the country people in the class. Okay? So now we're talking about not objects, but just location. Okay? So let's say doko,
Doko.
koko,
Koko.
soko,
Soko.
asoko.
Asoko.
So one more time. Doko,
Doko.
koko,
Koko.
soko,
Soko.
asoko.
Asoko.
All right, and so we've got those three. Then we've got some more words that you haven't learned. Do you have a question? No. Okay. We have a few more words that we're learning about in Japanese. So, tissue. Oh, that's right. Right in Japanese. So let me just write it. Tissue. So tissue, I'm not going to write it in katakana yet. Tissue, it's a good word, which means tissue. And then these are the important words. Shukudai. Shuku means house, dai means work. So, homework. If you have problems, remember this. Just remember, you want to die, shukudai. Okay? Shukudai, I want to die. Just remember that. That'll help you remember. Shukudai, I want to die. Okay? So next is shiken. Shiken is a test. Shiken. No, it's just they don't say shiken. It's a shiken. Shiken is a test. And then they say short testo. Short testo, they do not use. They don't say that. They say, yeah, it's stupid. It's actually quiz. Quiz. And that's become relatively popular. I don't think they say short testo. They say quiz. And then another one we all know is wakushito. Wakushito.
Like a lot of modern Japanese is stolen from the English language.
Okay, so if you notice right here, notice the ones that are in katakana, okay, the ones in the other angular language, they're English words. So, like, for example, tissue comes from America, okay, or comes from somewhere in Europe, where people sneeze. And then you've got testo, right, and then you've got wakushito. So those words are exclusively foreign, and that's why they're in katakana. Okay? Then, I don't know why they inserted this in here, but chocoreto. Chocoreto. Oops. So is chocolate. But most Japanese just say choco. They just say choco. Just like, they have McDonald's, but most Japanese in Tokyo call it maku. Most Japanese in Osaka call it makdo. right? They shorten everything. They love shortening stuff. That's the one thing about Japanese. They love shortening. And then ame is candy, ame, or candy. Candy. Okay? And that's candy. I taught you that yesterday, right, Gina? Okay. So ame is any kind of candy as well. Then we've got the wonderful list here of how Japanese count. Okay? This is going to frustrate you for a long time, but it's just inevitably what you're going to have to learn if you learn Japanese. Okay? So they teach you from 11, they teach you flat things. Okay? So flat things are like CDs, DVDs, paper, games, video games, cards, things like those are flat. And so they're counted with the normal Japanese counting. So ichi and then mai. Ni mai. San mai. Yon mai. Go mai. Roku mai. And nanamai? Say shitsimai or nanamai? Nanamai. I've never had to count to 9 with paper, so. Hachimai. Kyumai, jumai. Kyumai, jumai. So please write this down at least in romaji, if you can. Copy it off that paper. Okay? Just kind of get it written down so you're used to it. And then this word, we all know, nan desu ka, right? What does nan desu ka mean? What is it, right? What is it? So if we add nan to any counter, nanmai, this means how many pieces of paper. Just like the counter for age is sai, so nansai means how old are you? Okay? If I say Amerikajin, that's American, right? If I say Nanijin, that means what country person is that? Okay? So that nan or nani right here is used as a question, as like a plug-in. So we also learned hon, right? So you can count ippon, nihon, sanbon, yonhon, right? You can count with hon too, slender things like magic markers. But if you want to count or you want to ask how many there are, nambon, okay? That means how many things are there, right? And there is like an enormous amount of counters in Japanese. So yeah, it's really crazy. They have ones for boats, big animals, little animals, appliances. They've got different counters for everything. Yeah. Yeah, ippiki. So hitsuji ga ippiki, hitsuji ga nihiki, hitsuji ga sanbiki. Right. So that is how you count small animals. Everything from a hamster to a cat to a sheep. Okay, but once you get to like a tiger, then I think you use toll, itol, nitol. I'm not sure. I have to go look it up. It might be dai. Okay, so now this is the easy part, right? All you have to do is just plug in the number next to mai. Who cares? It's so easy, right? Just plug them right in. Now you look over at number 12. And this is where hell opens up its gaping maw and threatens to swallow you in. And that is, Japanese also, when they generally count something, they will count this other way with using su. But it doesn't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hold on. But you do have to use it because a lot of other things, like hitori, one person, futari, 2 people, and then sannin, 3 people. Okay, so there are some times that this is used as a counter in other ways. So for one, we have hitotsu. Hitotsu. Am I in the camera here? I am. Okay. For two, we say futatsu. For three, we say mitsu. For four, we say yotsu. For five, we say itsutsu. For six, we say mutsu. For seven, we say nanatsu. For eight, that is yatsu. Yaro? Okay. Then 9 is the crazy curveball, kokonatsu, which sounds like coconuts. Kokonotsu. Kokonotsu. And then 10 is to. This is never used. Usually they just go to whatever is the counter. And the to is the O sound. Notice the O extends. That's very rare, but it happens with 10. And then ikutsu is the way you count. Ikutsu. This is also how children might ask your age. They'll say ikutsu. Like they'll say, Jada-chan wa ikutsu? Which means, Jada, how many are you? And of course, Jada will say like, 16 sai, I'm 16. Or 15 sai. Is it 15? 15 sai desu. Right, of course, she's talking to kids, so it's just like, 15 sai. I'm 15. Okay? So, the other thing that's very important, and one good reason why we're learning this, is that the days of the calendar are, from the second, is futsuka, mika, yoka, itsuka. Okay, so even the days, all the counter days to the 11th are, you pull out the tsu and you put ka in. Okay? And a lot of bad Japanese users who are foreigners will say like for 6, they'll say rokunichi, so the 6th day, right? Roku plus nichi means day, right? But a good Japanese speaker will say muika, right? Which is the 6th day. Okay, so this is my recommendation to you. Just try to learn it and memorize it. I'll give you an assignment when we get back from the break, using these counters. And we'll also do it in class as well. It's really important to learn this though, because most Japanese will use these as a counter first when they're just saying like, I don't know, juice nambon. So like, how many drinks of juice would you want? Right, of course juice can mean anything. And the person will say, mitsu, right, I want 3. Some of them will say sambon, I want 3 long slender objects of drink. Okay? But depending on the person, they'll use one or the other. So let's go ahead and say these together and just kind of say them. Hitotsu.
Hitotsu.
Okay, so that's as it says in the book, hitotsu. Okay, hitotsu. Okay, futatsu.
Futatsu.
So futatsu, futatsu. Okay, mitsu,
Mitsu.
mitsu. So notice that's a long one, so it's not mitsu, it's mitsu. Okay, so mitsu means like nectar or something like that. Okay, then we've got yotsu.
Yotsu.
Okay, that's 4. And then we've got itsutsu,
Itsutsu.
which almost sounds like someone sneezing. Itsutsu. Then we've got mutsu.
Mutsu.
Okay. We've got nanatsu.
Nanatsu.
And this is one of the reasons why, again, shichi sometimes is nana, is because nanatsu is nana, right? And you notice what's 4? Yotsu, right? So that yon is there, and that's that kind of the alternate word as well. Okay, then 8 is yatsu,
Yatsu.
right? Oh, is it extended? Yeah, it is, yatsu. Then kokorotsu,
Kokorotsu.
kokorotsu is 9. And then to, not in Japanese, stupid. Okay, to. And then a very important word that you should know, like out of all of these, is ikutsu.
Ikutsu.
Am I right in Japanese? Ikutsu. And ikutsu means how many, but it can be used generally in a lot of different ways, including your age, okay? And so if somebody says to you just like, Noah ikutsu, kids will say that a lot, Noah ikutsu, whereas parents will say like, Noah-san, well, yeah, Noah-san, what nansai desu ka? How old are you, Noah? Kids will say, Noah-kun wa ikutsu? How old are you, Noah? And so it's good to know that word, ikutsu. But ikutsu also, when you count things, is used quite